You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
And welcome back to a very special interview for 3 Count Wrestling. It is our honor, privilege, and pleasure to be joined by the former Young Stallion, the former member of the Four Horsemen, and I don't want to say Mr. Wonderful. I apologize for that. He's pretty wonderful himself. That's what the name of the tag team. Pretty Paul Roma. Mr. Roma, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good. I think you left out one of the greatest tag teams of all time, though.
Power and Glory.
Power and Glory.
Yeah. Power and Glory.
Yes,
wow.
Indeed. Well, we definitely have some questions about that coming up, but I guess the first question we have to ask is, what have you been up to since you departed from the mainstream wrestling scene?
Well, since I departed, I opened up a professional wrestling school in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I work a normal life. I sell technology now.
Oh, such as what?
Computers, printers, any hardware, software.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. So it's like one from is it kind of like a normal existence now?
Yeah. I enjoy it, you know. I mean, I'm home every night. I'm not traveling, you know, and I'm not getting my body beat up.
And so I guess you still, I did see on the search engines that you do still take a couple of wrestling bookings here and there, though, right?
I do. Yeah, I do. On rare occasions.
Do you still like getting in the ring?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I enjoy getting in the ring at my school.
Ah, yeah. So where's the school? Has anybody come from your school that's gone on to the WWE guys? Since you're in the area for them to be looked at, for sure.
Let's see. Actually, guys that came from my school wrestled for WCW.
Oh, like such as who?
Well, were they oh gosh, what name did they go by? They were the Power Twins or something like that.
High Voltage?
No, I don't think they went by that name. And it was, and I'm talking way back.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Before I went, back into it. So we're talking many years ago. And I think they would have done well. It's just they didn't want to go along with the program.
Oh, well. What makes your school different than, there's a lot of wrestling schools popping up. Jimmy Valiant has one, Lance Storm has one. Of course, there's the old favorites that are still around, or most of them are anyway. What makes your school different? Why should somebody go to your school?
Well, I think what it really comes down to is, when it comes to a school, you have to pick out whether you really think you're going to get along with that person, if you like his style of work, what he accomplished, where he came from. I mean, coming out as, doing jobs for 3 years and just, stay in the course and not quitting and then finally getting a break. So I think that's what it boils down to. Also, what I teach is psychology, which a lot of schools don't. I don't abuse my guys. I don't take their money and beat them up and try to get them to quit. I don't, I'm very, very overly cautious. It's not like what you saw when Vince ran that WWF.
Right. Tough enough thing?
Yeah, that tough enough. It's just not like that. I don't know many schools that are like that. They'll abuse you and just beat you up so bad.
Wow.
Do you think that, you mentioned psychology. I got to ask you, do you think that there's a lack of psychology in the youth of the business right now?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. There's no rhyme or reason as to what they're doing. They just go out and they do, spots. They work the head to the arm, to the leg, back to the head. There's, no ring psychology as far as, working a body part, staying on a body part.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I try to, that's really what, I shouldn't even say try, that's really what I teach. Is, why you're going to take a bump, make the bump count. It's not about 100, taking 100 bumps in a match. It's about the quality of the bump, making it mean something. Telling a story,
right.
so who the bad guys are, who the good guys are, especially in independence. They don't have the TV, exposure. So when they walk out there, if they can't tell a story, then nobody knows who to get behind.
Right.
And they're lost. And that's what I see a lot of at the independent league.
Now, go ahead, James.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, if we could start with some of the traditional interview type career questions.
Yeah, they're chronological order.
Yeah. In the early days of your career in the WWF, you were what they now call enhancement talent.
Right.
Were you actually promised a bigger role in the early days of your career?
Absolutely not.
You just happy to be there?
No, I didn't know what wrestling. I should say I don't know what. I never watched wrestling. I didn't know I knew what it was, but I didn't know anybody. The first time I walked into TV tapings, which were actually in Poughkeepsie, New York, when Hulk Hogan walked by me, I didn't know who it was.
Oh, wow.
And I turned to one of the guys that I went up there with, another enhancement guy, for lack of a better word, and, I said, who's that? And he looked at me and goes, you got to be, with a few choice words, he goes, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
And I said, no. I said, who the hell's that? He said, that's Hulk Hogan. You don't know Hulk Hogan? I'm like, hell no, I don't know Hulk Hogan. Like, what's this guy mean to me? And then I saw Randy Savage, and all it said on the back of his trunks were Macho Man, and I started to laugh. And he says to me, what's so funny? I said, look at this dude, Macho Man. What the hell? Macho Man? I said, he looks like shit. And he goes, oh, that's Randy Savage, that's so-and-so, blah, blah. I said, okay. That's what it was for me. I came from, a winning attitude, and going into wrestling was just a total life swing, so to speak, a different way of living. Right. Because, when it really comes down to it, it's a work, right?
Right, yeah.
You got to work with them, they got to work with you.
Yeah.
You leave the ego outside. And the first time I had to lay on my back and get pinned was probably the hardest thing I've ever do in my life.
Oh. So is that like, I take it you took it very seriously then?
Yeah. Just like, my body. And the school I had originally come from didn't teach me anything. They said, well, you look good. Okay. And you could do this, you could do that. All right. But there was nothing. There was no psychology. There was no rhyme or reason as working body parts. They didn't teach you how to sell. Dying to them was selling. And then, as I broke into the business, I became friends with Mr. Fuji.
Right.
And he took me under his wing, and he started to teach me. So I would get to the buildings early that he was at, local here near my house, and in Connecticut. And he just worked me. And, he's really the one who got me my break. Because I would travel to towns with him, and he'd say, give this guy a shot. And they'd throw me in the ring, and then he'd tell me what I did right and wrong, and most of it was wrong. But I only got better, because it's just the kind of person I was. I was a perfectionist.
Oh, wow. Well, we did an interview with Barry Darso, Smash from Demolition.
Yeah.
And he told us some wild Mr. Fuji stories, and I have to ask, since you brought his name up, do you have a favorite rib that Mr. Fuji pulled on someone?
Oh, favorite rib? I don't know. There were so many.
Could you give us just one of them?
Favorite rib? Something harmless?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. Fuji would do things. Well, actually, what it really boiled down to was Fuji did not, how can I say? Fuji did not, per se, really play the rib. He got other people to play the rib.
Like Charles Manson.
He'd tell somebody to cut, somebody's long pants and make them shorts.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He told a story about, Chris, who was it about? So he made him have a...
Sheik Adnan
Sheik
Al-Casey.
Okay, yeah. He made him eat his dog. I just heard about that one.
Actually, it wasn't. Barry said it was the Sheik. Actually, it was Fuji's next door neighbor.
Was it really?
Yeah, because they were complaining about Fuji's dog, so he went and got their dog and he cooked it and fed it to them. Invited them over for a picnic.
Mm.
That's from my source, and that's from the horse's mouth. So I don't know where Barry got that one from, but who knows? I mean, Fuji was crazy.
Might have done it a couple times.
Yeah, he was absolutely nuts. He was probably the most feared wrestler as far as ribs and retaliation and this, that, and the other thing. Mm-hmm. He had a crew, like the British Bulldogs, were part of his crew, and they did exactly what he said.
Great. Was it through Fuji that you got the opportunity to form the Young Stallions with Jimmy Powers?
No, actually, the Young Stallions came from Pat Patterson.
Ah.
And the reason the Young Stallions broke up was because Jimmy and I just didn't get along.
Oh, you really didn't get along with him?
No. It's just one of those things where, I tried. But I went to the office and I said, actually I told Pat, I said, this isn't going to work.
Wow.
So I think we were in Arizona actually when we broke it up.
Yeah.
Pat came up with the police ball. I came up with this. I really wanted it to work, and I said, I understand that, but I got a family to support. He didn't have anybody. He didn't care if he's late, and a few other things he used to do.
Mm.
So it just got really bad, and I said, that's it. I'm not going to do this. So they split us up.
Have you spoken to him since? Or?
Yeah, I actually saw him at an autograph show.
Huh. Recently?
Yeah.
Huh. Everything okay now? Is everybody matured?
Well, I mean, everything was okay back then. We went our separate ways.
Right.
Power and Glory was formed.
Right.
And I was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I knew, at least in my mind, that I was a better worker. So that's how I looked at it, and I figured the cream would come to the top.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, this is something we ask pretty much everybody who was who was involved in '80s WWF. Everyone has an Andre story, Andre the Giant story. Do you have one?
Andre the Giant story. Give me a for instance.
For instance, well, when we interviewed Barry, he said that he, Andre, and Axe had gone to a bar in Japan.
Yeah.
And long story short, he got so drunk they literally had to put him in one taxi with his feet out one end and his head out the other, while the other two were following in a taxi laughing at him.
I believe it. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me say this first. Andre was, bar none, once I got to know him, one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. Mm-hmm. Very difficult to become a friend. And I think my in was Mr. Fuji. Because him and Fuji were very tight, and, Fuji gave me the nod. So Andre and I actually started to play cards one day, and that was it.
Ah.
We played, the whole tour and that we were on. Like I said, absolute gem. And that's about the time his movie came out, Princess Bride.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. I watched it I don't know how many times. He probably thought I was ribbing him, but I said, no, I thought it was great, And a story with Andre, let's see. Well, one story was actually in the ring when they asked us in a battle royal, wait for Andre to get into the ring and then everybody attack him and throw him out.
Right.
Because otherwise, who's going to get him out?
Exactly. Right.
So about the time he stepped over the rope, Coco Beware ran over to him, put his hands on him, and Andre hit him with a backhand and sent him across the ring. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you his feet didn't touch the ground until he landed, that's the truth.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it. and I've seen Andre. I've gone to my room at night at 1 in the morning and came down in the morning, and Andre's still sitting at the bar. And get off that and get right onto the bus and go to the show. So, and as a matter of fact, the first time I ever met him, I was just starting out. I was in New Haven Coliseum, and I watched him from the locker room to the curtain put down a gallon of wine and never take a breath.
Wow.
And walk into the ring and wrestle.
So, yeah, if this was your first day and you had no idea who Andre was, that must be a real shock.
I was introduced to him, and I was like, this guy's massive. I mean, he shook my hand, and I lost my hand inside his. And, someone was saying he's waiting. I'm like, what's this guy waiting for? He said, somebody's got to get him something. I'm like, okay. So I see the guy come in with a gallon of wine. And Andre broke the cap off it and put it up to his mouth as he walked through the door and just guzzled it down, and it was gone.
Wow.
And then got in and worked a hell of a match. And that was his younger days, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It started, way back. So.
Did you see him deteriorate over time?
I seen him hurting.
Yeah.
But, again, I thought he was, he was always nice to me. If he liked you, you were fine. If he didn't like you, keep your distance. And, if you ask him a question, he's not going to answer you. He'll ignore you if he doesn't like you. And we were on a tour bus, and Ted Arcidi did something. Andre, he took a picture of Andre, basically, and Andre said, give me the camera. And he said, why? He says, because I said so. I don't want my picture taken. So Ted looked at me, and I said, give him the camera, man. What's wrong with you? So Andre took it, opened it up, and that's when we had film.
Uh-huh.
And he pulled it all out.
Uh-huh.
And then Ted sat down. I said, what do I do? I said, keep your mouth shut and don't say a word. This guy will kill you, man.
Wow.
Well, actually,
Go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, going back to the wrestling, when you were with Young Stallions, they actually give you a win over the Hart Foundation when they were the tag team champions. Now, were they, if you guys could have gotten along, do you think they would have given you guys a run with the belt?
What do you mean, when we were the Young Stallions?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what happened was they brought us in because Martel and Zink broke up.
Exactly.
So they were going to drop the straps to us. I mean, we were great. We really worked as a tag team, but they were high on us, and I don't know. I don't know what transpired to stop them from dropping the belt to us, but they did.
Did you realize that Bret Hart would go on to be the huge star he went on to become?
Yeah, Bret's a great wrestler. I think he was. I think they had a damn good tag team with the Hart Foundation. Great gimmick. They worked well together. I mean, Bret was the foundation. He was the man that could do all the wrestling, and they had their strong man, which was Anvil. So yeah, I think.
So, given your experiences with Mr. Fuji, must have been great when they decided to make him your manager with Power and Glory.
No, they pulled that.
What do you mean?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, you were managed by Slick, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. You're right. I remember I saw a picture of you with Mr. Fuji first, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, really, this is what went down. The Young Stallions were supposed to get Mr. T as their manager.
Ah.
And the day Mr. T was supposed to show up, he never showed.
Ah.
And I guess he was just a screw-up.
Yeah, well, I heard he had a bad attitude.
Well, I mean, he was okay to me. I mean, he was nice to me.
Right.
When I met him, took pictures with me, wanted, him and his wife and whatever.
Right.
And that was fine. And then they said, look, we're going to make him your manager. Like, wow, we're at their building waiting for this dude. He never shows. So that, went by the wayside. And I don't know what the hell happened after that, whether it was my attitude there was, guys trying to cut our throats, basically.
Right.
Because, they were worried about their position.
Was it politics bad back then?
Oh, unbelievable.
Really? Even back in the Hogan era?
We had so many connections, man. We had the French connection, and you had, no, I don't want to go there, but you had, the all-male connection, things like that. It was one of those things, guys always trying to get someone, in trouble and bury somebody, and, it was crazy. It was really, really crazy. And then, like I said, I actually had gone to the office, and I said, hey, listen, Pat, I said, Hercules is dead in the water. I'm dead in the water. I said, I got a great tag team, or at least I thought I had a great tag team, name for a tag team. And I said, Paul and Glory, And he said, well, let me talk to Vince. So they sat on it, and they liked it. And then they wanted me to sit there with their designers and come up with, an outfit. So they were really going to push it. And then I don't know what in God's name happened, but they sent us out. People went insane. They went crazy. They sent us out with music, and then Vince said, kill the music. So they sent us out without it, and the people still went crazy, and we were heels.
Right.
So then they sent us out with Slick,
Yeah.
But they never did anything with us. They dropped the belts. We beat the Hart Foundation in Nassau Coliseum, and then they switched them right back that same night. They said that we cheated, of course, and took the belts right away from us. So, I turned to Ray, and I said, hey, man, I said, this is great. You hear the crowd when we won the belts, they went through the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But then we never saw them again.
Yeah, I was actually, one of my questions was, you guys were getting a bit of a push up until about 1991 came, and then something just seemed to go away.
Yeah, I know. There's no explaining it. And I had gone to Vince, and I said, listen, I said, everybody has shirts. I said, what about a Power and Glory shirt? And he goes, oh, no. He goes, heel shirts don't sell. I said, what are you talking about? I said, everybody, you got a heel to have shirts. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal. How about if I bankroll our shirts? And Ray and I get to keep the money. He goes, you want to bankroll them? And I said, yeah, I'll bankroll them. I don't have a problem with that. He goes, okay. I said, great. I said, so how do we do this? He goes, no. He goes, just let me think about it. And he never did it. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe because, they didn't come up with Power and Glory. I don't know.
That seems to be something that Vince likes to do. He likes to come up with his own stuff.
Yeah, he does. He does. And that's the only thing we could really attribute to why, he never pushed us anywhere.
How'd you get along with Herc?
I got along with Herc. Herc was family to me.
Huh.
And I've never had a partner that I got along with as well as him. I think it would be him, S.D. Jones. I had him as a partner in Australia. Orndorff.
Yes.
And that'd be it. Those would be the, as far as that goes, as far as partners. But yeah, nobody, Ray knew, and I knew what we were thinking as we were tagging. It was probably the freakiest thing that ever happened, with me and another partner. Maybe, I could put out my hand and call a spot, and he was already calling it for me, and I'm like, wow. And vice versa. And our finish has never been duplicated.
No, that was great.
Yeah. And we thought about that finish on our way to Minnesota to do TV. He goes, what do we do for a finish? I said, I don't know. What do you want to do? He goes, I don't know. I said, all right, well, I'll think of something. You just drive. So he was driving, and I showed him on the dashboard. I said, what do you think of this? He said, can we do it? I said, yeah, we can do this. So we did it and pulled it off. I mean, everybody was watching, everybody. Because they, to pull a stunt like that was just incredible.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And we nailed it. So, but never practiced it. That was it. We went live with it.
Could have been disastrous. It didn't work out.
Yeah, it could have been.
All right. Well, you guys had some great matches with the team formerly known as the Rockers. Any memories of working with those guys?
Loved working with the Rockers. One of the matches, I'll give you a quick one. One of the matches we had in Chicago, in the Rose Horizon, we went on before Hogan. Hogan was main event.
Oh.
And when we got done, the next night, we had to go on after Hogan because he couldn't follow it.
Huh. Wow. That was,
Wow.
What arena was that again?
Rosemont Horizon.
Oh, wow, okay. I remember, I think there was an MSG show that I was at when I think they did singles matches with you against Rocky. Yeah, that was, I remember that there was a couple times that you guys used to main event where Hogan would be like second or third in the card.
I mean, again, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and I said to him, I said, Hogan isn't anything without the rest of us. And he goes, oh, my God, how can you say that? I said, because, there's people that aren't Hogan fans. Mm-hmm. There's people that go to see the Rockers. There's people that go to see the Hart Foundation, and if you just have a card with Hogan in one match, you think you're going to pack the place? It's not going to happen. There's a lot of people that want to see the other matches. Mm-hmm. You're giving them a total package, And again, you're talking about a man with the biggest ego there is.
Really?
So to turn around and, want to be put before us, well, you're so great. You should be able to follow any match.
So I take it you and Hogan didn't get along?
No, I traveled with him. I got along with him. We go in limos together and everything else. Mm-hmm. Just that, I am who I am. I don't color code anything.
Okay,
so
well,
if he doesn't like it, he could call me up. I don't sweat him.
all right. Well, Marty Jannetty told us a story about a group of WWF wrestlers, including yourself, Sean, and Hercules, were picking on a guy on a plane, and he turned out to be a pretty high member of the Hells Angels. And
not true.
Not true?
Okay.
Not true. Actually, Ray was sitting in the back of the plane, not bothering anybody. He was in the last seat. I was in front of the guy, and Marty and Sean set the guy up. Now, did he tell you what he did?
Yeah.
The shit back thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean walked up, and he dropped something, and the guy leaned forward. And then Marty walked up behind the guy and dropped shit between the guy's back and the seat.
Yes.
And the guy sat back, not knowing. And I guess he started smelling something after a while. And he went into the bathroom and saw there was shit all over him. And when he came out, he went to Ray. And Ray didn't have a clue to what was going on.
Right.
And, Ray turned to him and goes, hey, you better back down. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? So when we got off the plane, the guy was saying, hey, look, I got a gun. I'm going to shoot you guys. When we get off the plane, it's in my suitcase. So the flight attendants heard him, and they got the cops, and the cops met him, and he had a gun.
Oh, well.
In his suitcase. But, Ray and I had nothing to do with it. So I don't know why he would mention, Ray and myself. Because, like I said, when this guy came up to Ray was like, what the hell are you talking about? Here he is sitting in the back of the plane sleeping. This guy rolls up on him and starts blaming him for putting shit, and, that wasn't the case at all.
I thought you were one of the, I think in the story he told, you were one of the ringleaders of the taunting of the guy. But,
No, not at all. Not at all. What happened was the guy started talking, I don't know if he knew you were a wrestler.
Yeah, I think Marty said he knew you guys were wrestlers, and he
started taunting, and I looked and I said, this guy, he doesn't know what he's getting into.
Right.
He needs to just stop. So then he said something else. And I said, listen, man. I said, why don't you just be quiet? Nobody's bothering you. Just leave us be, man. We just want to get to the next town, Yeah. And that's when Sean and Marty concocted their little thing. But I never left my seat. Didn't have to. They did their thing, and like I said, Sean pulled the old, drop something on the floor, and anybody's reaction is to bend over and pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's when Marty slid in behind him and just dropped it. So, yeah, bad thing, man.
Oh, well.
No, you know, I like to, you know, lay claim to some things, but that's not one that I could definitely put my mark on. It wasn't me.
Well, for lack of a better term, what led to you leaving WWF at the time?
I didn't see when we were in was it France? I believe it was France. I went to Pat and I said, you know, what's going on? I mean, you know, you guys are splitting Ray and I up and making us wrestle single, basically. He goes, oh, don't worry. He said, we're going to do something with you. And I said, well, what about Ray? And he goes, well, he'll be okay. And I said, no, he'll be okay. What about Ray? You know, I said, you know what, Pat? I could see the writing on the wall. I said, I don't need this shit anymore. I said, I'm done. After this tour, I'm all done. So, unbeknown to me, he went to Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And he told Ray that it was all about me.
Huh.
And you know, I didn't want to work with him and you know, all this horse shit. So then I lost touch with Ray for when I left. Shit, he changed his number I don't know how many times. And I lost touch with him. He was having trouble with his wife. And I lost touch with him. And then I went to WCW and I was down in Florida, and who shows up? Ray. So I said, come on, man, you know, let's go get a bite to eat. So we did. And we're sitting down, and I know him. You know what I mean? I know this guy better than anybody.
Right.
So I'm like, what's on your mind, man? Something's bothering you. And he goes, all right, man. He goes, I'll tell you. So I was like, okay, what's up? So he tells me the story. I said, hold on. I said, this is what I said to Pat. I said, it ain't, you know, I'm not going to hang my partner out to dry. I said, no, you know, he'll be okay. That doesn't work for me, you know. He goes, well, that's not what he told me. So he told me what he said, and I said, that son of a bitch. He goes, and he started saying the same thing. He goes, those bastards worked us against each other. I said, well, they didn't work you against me. He just went and told you something totally different. I said, I would never leave you hanging out to dry. I said, you're my blood, and I love you. I would never do that.
Do you think they do that backstage? Do you think they try to work guys against each other?
Yeah, they actually, the very first match that I had against Ray, I was a babyface. You know, I was a jobber. He was Hercules. He had the chain. And T.J. Strongbow came into me and goes, hey, listen, you know, get a wrestle Hercules tonight. I said, okay. He goes, no, I want you to go out there and have a good match. I said, okay, I'll have a good match. He goes, no, I don't think you understand. I want you to wrestle him. I said, okay, I'll wrestle him. He goes, no. Wrestle him. Don't just let him do things to you, man. You know, and I'm like, okay, all right, I got it. So then, unbeknown to me, they went to Ray, and they told Ray that I was going to go out there and beat his ass.
Huh.
So when I locked up with Ray, I went behind him. I got him in a waist lock. He tried to get out. I won't let him get out. So he went to the ropes, and he went to kick me in the nuts, you know, with a backward kick. So I sold it. I mean, he didn't catch me, caught me in my legs, so I sold it. And then when I'd say probably, hell, had to be a good 3 months, Ray and I started, you know, getting him, we became friends. I started getting him to towns. Even though we're babyface and heel, I would drop him off, or I'd get out of the car, and he'd pull up the arena, and I'd just walk up so no one knew what car I came from. And he told me. He goes, they told me that, you know, you're going to go out there and, you know, beat my ass, wrestle me down and all that. I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, this is exactly what happened. So I told him, he goes, those sons of bitches. He goes, they had me all riled up. And I said, dude, I'm just telling you what happened. I said, and you want to confront anybody, I'll tell them exactly what they said to my therapist. He goes, man, it's cool, you know, and that was it. Then it became Power and Glory after that. Short time after that.
Wow.
Because they play against each other. They're like children, man, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, after you left the WWF, you tried your hand at boxing. Did you?
Yeah, it was crazy. Go on.
Okay. Well, I believe your record was 3-1. Am I correct? 2-1.
2-1.
You know, did you enjoy boxing at all?
No, you know what it was? A manager that knew me, a friend of mine, was managing boxers. He rolled up on me in the park one day, and he said, hey, can you take a punch? You know? And I said, what do you mean? He goes, can you still take a punch? And I said, what the hell are you talking about? So he goes into the story. He said, you know, when you used to kickbox, he was there. And he says, you know, these guys would kick you and hit you in the head, and it didn't faze you. I said, well, I don't know, man. I haven't punched in the face in a long time, but I guess I can. So he starts going into it. So it brings me up to Kevin Rooney's place. And I was too old. So Kevin liked the idea of me fighting Gastineau.
Wow.
Oh.
So they're going to build the first pro wrestler turned pro fighter fight an ex-football player.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so Gastineau got beat.
Yeah.
And that kind of went by the wayside. And then Gastineau's camp called me up at my house and wanted me to set up fight. And I said, so like I'm going to go in there and just beat these guys, and they're kind of saying yes, but not in a direct way. And I said, nah, man, I said, that shit ain't for me.
Right.
You know, I mean, I was jogging around the blocks and, you know, running miles every morning, 5:30 in the morning, up in the Catskills, and, you know, it was just insane. But I did have one of the fastest knockouts of the heavyweight, 59 seconds.
Wow.
Cool.
And the last guy I fought, I broke 3 of his ribs. So that was it. I said, you know what? I'm 1-1. I want to finish with a winning record. Get me another fight. You got me another fight. I broke the guy's ribs. That was the end. I quit. I said, I'm too old for this crap. You know, that's not for me.
Oh, all right.
Awesome.
Is that so? What led to you returning to the more choreographed wrestling? I guess you'd say.
With that, what led me to it?
Yeah, what led you back into wrestling?
I called WCW,
Oh.
and they called me back and said they wanted to make me a horseman.
Now, being somebody that wasn't actually a fan growing up, did you understand the what that meant in terms of elite members?
Well, I mean, you know, I was in the game now.
Yeah.
You know, and so they called me up and they said, this is what we're going to pay you. I said, okay. And you know, they're going to make me a horseman. And, you know, and I was like, okay. And I said, and they go, is that okay? I said, that's fine. I don't think you understand. I said, no, I understand. They said, we're going to make you Four Horsemen. I said, yeah, I understand. And this is what we're going to pay you. I said, yeah, I understand. And that's okay? I said, yeah, that's fine. And, you know, it was like 5 minutes of, you don't understand. And I said, no, I understand. You know, so, but again, it wasn't, I don't know.
Did they expect you to sound more excited, or did they expect you to want more money, or what was they?
They expected me to haggle on the price.
Really?
And I didn't. You know, I had other thoughts in mind of, you know, what was behind why I wanted to go back. So, you know.
Yeah.
But, again, and then Orndorff came up to me and said, hey, I think they want to tag us up. And I said, okay. You know, I'd love to tag with you. And I think you're a hell of a wrestler. You know, so he said, we got to come up with a name. So I was in the locker room and I said, what do you think of Pretty Wonderful? And he goes, oh my God. He goes, where'd you get that? I said, I just came up with it. I said, I'm Pretty Paul. You're Mr. Wonderful. Pretty Wonderful. So we went to one of the agents, and they went to Bischoff. And Bischoff called us in and said, hey, we're going to call you Pretty Wonderful. And I said, yeah, I know. I came up with that. He goes, what do you mean? You know, like Jack Lanza, whoever it was at the time, you know, just told me. I said, yeah, and I told him. So Orndorff's like, yeah, Paul came up with that. So, you know, all these guys want to lay claim to fame, man. You know what I mean?
Actually, I can let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to be interviewing Bischoff next week.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I guess that'll lead into the next question. How did you get along with Bischoff?
Bischoff was a snake.
You can be honest with me, by the way. It doesn't bother me. He was a snake?
He was a snake.
Yeah.
I could be honest with you. Why? Who you think I'm afraid of him too?
I don't think you're afraid of anything.
He was, you know, Bischoff. Let me tell you how smart Bischoff was. This is how smart this guy is, okay? aside from the fact he's a mark, he has no idea what wrestling is.
Right.
All he thought about was, all you have to do is tell Bischoff, hey, you're a good-looking guy. He loves you. All he wanted to hear was that he was a good-looking guy. That was his thing. He was a jerk-off. Vince sent 2 of his writers down to WCW and destroyed WCW. When Bischoff heard that Vince fired 2 writers, he hired them. And then after they wrote bad storylines for WCW and it went down the tubes, Vince took them back because it was all a plan. That shows you how smart that jack-off is. He's an idiot.
I take it you're talking about Vince Russo?
I'm talking about Bischoff. Yeah, Russo, the writer, right. Yeah. And then, what a setup. I mean, give me a break. He sent the Trojan horse into WCW. And these idiots took it. How damn stupid can you be? But Bischoff, thinking that he's so smart. So what does he do now? He kisses Vince's ass. The guy who he hammered, the guy who he said was a piece of garbage, and he's a piece of shit, and, this, that, and the other thing. And who's he working for now? Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Alrighty. Well, early on in your WCW run, you had a couple of matches with Stunning Steve Austin. I believe a couple of tag matches. Did you think he would have exploded just like Brett did earlier?
Yeah. Matter of fact, it was Austin, Orndorff, Rick Rude, and myself in the car, and we told Austin, listen, man, you go to Vince. You got your shot. Go to WWF. You'll be a superstar overnight with Vince. And he did. He did.
Have you talked to him since he exploded?
I went to one of the shows. God, I don't even know how many years ago. He and saw Steve. He was having some problems family-wise. But, I came up to him in the back room, and I had some family there, and he came out and, talked to my cousins and, took pictures. Actually, everybody did, the big show and everybody. They were just great, man. That was just out of respect for me, which I appreciated. But, Steve was, as he always is, Steve, with me, and that's cool. He was a joy to be around, funny as hell. Tremendous wrestler. I have nothing bad at all to say about Steve.
A few minutes ago, I asked you if you were still taking bookings. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you guys get Pretty Wonderful back together earlier this year?
That was just an autograph show.
Oh, just an autograph thing?
Yeah. We had a CCW show, which is Connecticut Championship Wrestling. They asked me to come in and help them out and get their shows straightened out, and I did. And Paul came in. And him and I sat down and we signed autographs, but he didn't work.
Oh, okay, good.
He can't.
His neck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time he did, he almost, they had to carry him out, which wasn't good.
No. So,
Oh, well.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go back to the last thing most people would remember from you, Superbrawl V. And if you don't want to answer this question, you just go ahead and say so. But we have to mention the match you had with Alex Wright.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as gingerly as possible. There are some who say that you sold for him, and what do you think happened?
What do you mean? What do I think happened?
Oh, the rumor is, urban legend, if you will, that that was pretty much your demise in WCW because you just didn't take it seriously. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Okay.
And you could put this in stone.
Okay.
I was to work with Alex Wright. This is from the mouth of Ric Flair.
Okay.
And Eric Bischoff.
All right.
I'm supposed to work with Alex Wright, make him better. Let him beat me all around, that's fine. I said, I don't mind doing that, but I'm not doing a job for him on a pay-per-view. And they said, no, that won't happen. I said, okay, then I'll have a problem. I'll go around with them wherever you want, I'll work with them, try to get them better, and that'll be fine. So they said, okay, great. So then they have a pay-per-view, and it's me against Alex Wright. So I go into, Maryland, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. And, I go up to Flair, and Flair's like, listen, we need Alex over. And I said, now, hold on, Rick. I said, you told me I'd work with him, I'd put him over all around, but I wasn't going to get beat on a pay-per-view. He said, well, this is what they want. I said, okay, no problem. So if you have a copy of the match, you see when I walk out, I said, this is all about respect, Ruby. And when I walked into the ring, I insulted him, humiliated him, beat him from post to post, and then at the end I let him pin me. So after that, they sent me a nice little FedEx that said, we no longer need your services. And then Rick called me up, because Bischoff didn't have the balls to face me, So Flair called me up, and he said, so you don't want to wrestle anymore? And I said, no, who said that? He goes, well, after that match, I said, I thought I had a damn good match. But the wrestlers thought it was good. I thought it was good. The crowd loved it. He goes, well, you may think so. I said, you know what? I do think so. I said, they sent me my walking papers. So it is what it is. I wouldn't change a thing, that match.
You don't regret it at all?
I have the only thing I regret is on live TV, I didn't get him in a pinning combination and pin his ass. And I should have.
If I'm not mistaken, I haven't seen the match in a couple of years now, but didn't you actually kick out of the pin, but the ref just counted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he may have won, but ain't no one that remembers he won. Not after what I did to him. And where is he now?
Exactly.
Who knows?
Right. They said that he was going to be the next Hulk Hogan. Do you know that? That's what Bischoff and Flair said. They were building him to be the next Hulk Hogan.
That's great.
Yeah,
wow.
Right. He's a Hulk Hogan. Come on. Let's get real. These guys were on another planet, man. They really were.
Oh, they got lucky. I think they did a couple things right. I think they got lucky, though, with the next Hulk Hogan that they could have made, which was Goldberg. I don't know. You don't know Goldberg, though, but I actually think they got lucky because the fans actually made him bring in signs. And I don't know. I'm rambling.
Okay, well, what was better working? What environment was better for you, WWF or WCW, backstage-wise?
WCW.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
You're one of the few who actually says that.
Yeah. There was no stress.
Would you have liked to have been there during the whole Nitro era, with the live TV and all that?
Honestly, I never even thought about it. Never gave it a thought.
Okay.
Well, there was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Promotion-wise, WWF, like I said, the storylines were so much better.
Right.
More recognition. And that was WCW's downfall. They had, Ric Flair, keeping Ric Flair on top, and the Four Horsemen on top, and Arn Anderson on top, and they had their little niche, the Carolina connection, and then you had the Minnesota connection, and there's too many connections. They didn't have anybody with any balls that would write storyline and say, look, this is how it's going to run. And then Hogan came in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Hogan connection, and who sucked up to Hogan to keep themselves, on top. So that's what,
Yeah.
How'd you get along with Sting?
What's that?
How'd you get along with Sting?
I thought I got along with Sting.
Yeah, okay.
There was a talk about you and your brother going back to the WWE in 1997. Was there any truth to that?
I don't have a brother.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know, like rumors came along. And they,
let me explain. There was a rumor that you and someone named Alex Roma were going to be a tag team we're trying out to be a tag team in WWF.
We actually had a tryout debut.
Oh.
I take it Alex Roma is not your brother then?
No. He's not related at all.
Ah. Who was he, if you don't want me asking?
Oh, a student.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did you,
He looked good, and you know, I mean, he needed a little more experience, but, you know, Vince gave us a shot in Nassau Coliseum, and then in, was it New Haven? Yeah, New Haven. You know, and that was it. But
how'd they turn out?
then there were rumors that went around to say that, you know, Vince made us an offer, and I said it wasn't enough money, and I don't know where the hell these people get all this information, because Vince never made us an offer. And even Alex came to me and said, you know, I heard that, you know, you turned down Vince's offer, and I said, there was no offer. What the hell are you talking about? So, I don't know. You know, people hear things, make up things.
What do you think of the Internet and its involvement in wrestling these days? Where everything is on display and everybody knows everything, and or everybody thinks they know everything and all that.
I don't know. I guess it keeps the lines of communication open one way or another.
No negative.
I think it's fine. I mean, look, if you get ESPN and, you know, they're going to give you information on different people,
right.
You know, what's really the truth? I mean, they're just getting a story. I mean, I see some of this crap that they have online. You know, people say, hey, Paul, this, and hey, Paul, that. You know, you should read this. This is what they said about this and that. And I'm like, I don't know where to get the information from. But you know what? It keeps, I don't know, it keeps the interest, I guess.
I guess that is one thing that it actually does do. But do you think that, well, there was a situation with, like, a sex scandal and all that, and do you think that it just, like, brings the personal lives in way too much?
I don't know about any sex scandal.
Not involving you. Don't worry about that. But.
Oh, no, I don't see how it could. I didn't do anything. But, yeah, I guess, you know what it is? People are bored with their lives. So, I mean, they're looking for dirt, man, to make them feel better about who and what they are or aren't.
Or maybe to live vicariously through somebody else.
That would work, too. But, I mean, think about it. You know, misery loves company. I mean, they didn't just throw these sayings together without meaning. They do. I don't know. People just, I guess, you know, you're in the limelight, man. Your life is an open book, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Mm. What do you think about the way wrestling is run nowadays?
As far as what? What do you mean?
As far as the independent or the WWE TV product, or?
I mean, if you look at their stocks, if they're going up, I guess the product's good. If they're going down, I guess the product's bad. Do I think the product's good? No. I think they need people that need to learn how to work. Like Booker T, I think he's a good worker.
Right.
I watched a match with him and my students when Booker T fought, was it Batista?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Batista was lost. He had no idea what the hell to do.
Right.
You know, Booker knew what to do, but he didn't. And that's my point. You know, you got a guy here that looks real good physically, but he has no ring psychology whatsoever. He doesn't know what to do next. And you can see, I can see it. I don't know if you guys could, but being in the business for as long as I was, I can see it. You know, my students saw it.
Yeah. You can see it.
So as far as that, as far as independence, I don't know. There's people taking a lot of risks. There's too many so-called wrestlers, you know, pro wrestlers, and they're not. You know, they're the backyard wrestlers, you know, they deem themselves pros. Or there's guys that go to schools that show them how to take one or two bumps, and then they're making all these, they're one of these high-risk moves because they saw it, and they're getting hurt, and it's just a bad situation. I mean, I think independent shows are good for the business. The only problem is you got these, like I said, self-proclaimed pro wrestlers.
Well, what do you think of a lot of these self-proclaimed pro wrestlers wear very baggy clothes to cover up their unimpressive bodies, and for somebody who had a great physique throughout his career, that's a compliment, by the way. What do you think about these guys who cover themselves up and really don't even work out or don't appear to work out? Is the look important?
I think the look's important. Yeah, no doubt. But back in our day, I don't know how it is now, like I said, because I've been away from it, but I know that Vince loved bodies. You know, if you had a body, he liked that. But at the same time, you need your mix. I mean, look at the Nasty Boys. They didn't have bodies.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you need your mix. Everybody, he tried to turn the bodybuilders, he wanted to turn them into wrestlers, but forget it. Guys can't work. They're bodybuilders. They're not athletes.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think bodies are important. I mean, it's a plus for you. You know, less chance of getting hurt if you can carry some more weight. So.
Have you seen any TNA?
No.
None?
No. No. I hear what people tell me. I see it through that. You know, like this kid told me today that Kurt Angle went there.
Yeah, he just did, yeah.
And I said, wow, I'm shocked that Vince just let him go because that's not like Vince. He usually like to tie you up for the rest of your life.
He does, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice of him that he did that.
Either that or Kurt Ford. I heard Kurt Ford had his contract because he didn't want to be there.
Oh, I don't know. Again, you know, if it's true, fine. If it's not true, fine. You know, I just don't pay no mind to get into other people's lives and what they're doing. I worry about my own.
At this stage in your career, do you think you'll ever make a TV return?
I don't think so. They might want me to.
Would you if they asked you?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm in great shape still, but I don't know. I mean, it's funny too. You asked me that because one of the CEOs of our company asked me, and he said, you know, if you want to go back, we'll hold your spot here for you. Because as long as I have a job here, you have a job here. And I said, no, I'm not going back. Well, but think about it if you want to. I was like, there's nothing to think about, man. You know, I don't want to go back. Plus, you know, I mean, what are they going to pay me? What can they pay me?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know he's got dollars, but it's just one of those things. You know, I'm not looking, or I'll rephrase that. I'm not waiting for a phone call.
Right.
I don't come home and, you know, and check my messages and hope that, you know, he's on there. Just, I don't. I really school and I try to take my, you know, the young guys down the right path, get them booked in independent shows and, you know, teach them the right thing, and that's it. That's where I get my enjoyment now.
Is there any young guys that you're training now that you think has a chance?
Tookie Tucker, the wrestling trucker.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous body. Unbelievable charisma. He can work. He can do backflips off the top. He knows psychology. He has a Peterbilt. He actually owns his own trucking company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he, like I said, he has a classic Peterbilt, big orange truck. It blows flames out the pipes, and I mean, what a great addition that would be if, you know, TNA or WWE picked him up. He's like 6'2", 240, 245. He's
wow.
jacked.
Well, there's another one of your students that we interviewed a couple of weeks ago. How about Brian Anthony?
Brian Anthony, another good wrestler. Not big, but he can work.
You think he has to gain a little weight?
Yeah, I mean, but who knows? Like with Vince, who knows? I mean, he could bring. Look, you got who's that Mexican?
Vegetarian?
Yeah. So who the hell knows? I mean, he could have Brian Anthony go in and beat, you know, Batista and make people believe it. I got one guy is one half of a tag team called the Archangels. Another real good wrestler. Kevin Landry, who had shots and blew it. He was out of my school. Just Incredible was out of my school.
Really?
Yeah.
Just incredible, he said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive. Did you hear about him just recently?
No.
Apparently he got himself fired.
Probably drunk.
Maybe. Suppose he was no showing shows and things like that.
Well, he came to an independent show and he was drunk out of his mind. So was his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
And the last show that I helped this company run, I grabbed him by his neck because he opened up a beer inside the ring. And I told these guys, this is not about drugs and drinking, and I don't promote that, and I don't want these kids in the audience to see it. And he had some kid, run up to the ring and throw 2 beers in, and him and Ron Zombie, or whatever the guy's name, something Zombie, cracked the beers open. And when they came out of the ring, I snatched the beer out of his hand, grabbed him by his neck and pushed him, and he left out the back door, and I grabbed Zombie too, and, next thing you know, they're like asking for me to leave, so that's it.
Wow. Awesome, man. Well, do you mind if we give you a couple word associations? If you have a one-word answer, that's cool. If you want to tell a little story, that's cool too.
All right, then I'm going to get off.
Yeah, I know. We kept you too long. I apologize.
That's all right, go on.
All right, cool. First name on the list is Shawn Michaels.
Great wrestler.
Okay, Hulk Hogan.
Egomaniac.
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart. One-word association, huh?
Right.
Loudmouth.
Ultimate Warrior.
Wow, Ultimate Warrior. Nice guy.
Really?
Yeah.
You're kind of one of the only on that one. Flick.
I'm sorry, who?
Flick.
Super nice guy. I know the one-word thing here, but go on.
Buff Bagwell. Marcus Bagwell.
A total dipshit.
Can I ask you to elaborate on that one just a little bit?
He is self-absorbed.
And two more left for you. First is a double. It's the Nasty Boys.
Clumsy.
And the final one is your former boss, Vince McMahon.
Wow. That's a hard one word, huh? Okay, I'll be very nice. A businessman.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't give us the typical word, which is genius.
No, businessman.
Okay, cool. Before we let you go, just one last little thing. Where can people find out more about your school?
Oh, wow. Well, they could do one of two things. They could call me. You have my cell phone number.
Uh-huh.
Or they could email me.
Where can they email you?
At proma.
Uh-huh.
I never email myself. I know my work email, but I don't know my computer email. So let's see. Let me see what my computer email is. It's Paul Roma
uh-huh.
at sbcglobal.net.